Bill. He's torn between two Britneys.
He has nicknamed both Britneys in his life B1 and B2. You can't make this up.
B2 was at my house, and then B1 popped up unannounced.
I was immediately livid.
And this love triangle?
You say you're caught between two Britneys, but it seems to me like you're playing both hands.
Is shattering the family circle.
Let me tell you something, little lady.
Shut your mouth.
You won't speak to me that way. I'm 60 years old and I'm a grown adult.
You're a grown adult. Act like one.
Okay, time out, time out. I'm a little confused why both of you sit around waiting for him to decide what's going to happen in your life. Today's going to be a changing day in your life. You've never had anybody working harder to bring you to the threshold of change than right now. Well, conscious uncoupling, bird nesting, and soft landing are new parenting trends being practiced by celebrity exes like Gwyneth Paltrow, Chris Martin, and Anna Faris, Chris Pratt. These former couples are setting aside their differences for the sake of their children. That's not the case with today's guest, who say such Hollywood terms just don't fly in real life, not with real people. Britney uses words like toxic, abusive, violent to describe her relationship with her ex-husband, Jeremy, whom she says uses their 3 children against her. Britney also says Jeremy even moved in another woman, who's also named Britney, to play mother to their children. He has nicknamed both Britneys in his life B1 and B2. You can't make this up. Here is what Britney, her twin sister Brooke, and their mother Sheila have to say about her ex, Jeremy. Take a look.
My ex-husband, Jeremy, was not a good dad, and he was a horrible husband.
Jeremy is a controlling, manipulative narcissist. If Jeremy can't have Britney, nobody can.
In the past, she's always gone back to him because she knew she would not get to see the kids.
This past year, we've been living apart. He's always been able to get me back. Because he hasn't been able to this time, he's pissed off.
My main concern is the kids.
Neither one will hire an attorney to get child support or custody agreed upon.
A little over a year ago, I found out that Jeremy was cheating on me with his now girlfriend, Britney.
This girl lost custody of her only daughter, so now she's trying to raise my grandchildren.
Now he has her living with him, and my kids are in the middle. Britney has told my children that she was not trying to replace their mother, that she was just there to give them motherly love. I don't need her giving them motherly anything.
My relationship has even suffered with my sister because of Jeremy.
Jeremy can't stand seeing me happy, and the minute that he does, he's going to make my life a living hell. Earlier this year, I went to Jeremy's house. He started screaming and cussing and telling me that I made him this way. Then he took out his pistol and shot it in the ceiling. Jeremy made it seem like I was the crazy one, yet he's the one that shot the gun inside his house.
I pray that Britney will get past the situation with Jeremy and be able to live a normal life.
If we can't get along and co-parent, then Jeremy is going to get the kids to choose him.
Jeremy has brainwashed the middle child, and she doesn't even want a relationship with her mother. They haven't fixed anything in 18 years, and without any legal documentation, they're not going to fix anything on their own.
Okay, I'm glad y'all are here because this sounds like a mess, and
Definitely.
there are children involved here, caught in the crossfire, right?
Yes, sir.
That's your concern.
Yes.
Above everything else. So why is this happening? Why are you involved in this?
Jeremy and I were high school sweethearts, and, you know, we had a child when I was 17.
Okay, and how did it happen? I mean, I know how it happened.
I mean, do you want me to explain?
I don't want the details.
It was just like, it wasn't like a first date, was it?
No.
It was prom night.
Oh, his prom night. Okay. And how did it go? How did the relationship go after you had the first child?
He was a very absent father.
So you have a baby that you didn't plan, and he's absent, and you had 2 more.
They got a divorce.
We got a divorce, and we were separated for about a year and a half.
Oh, my God. And then you came back and had 2 more.
Jeremy ruins any happiness for Britney. If she dated anybody or if he thought she might remotely be getting involved with someone and having a healthy relationship, he immediately
Going to do something to sabotage it.
Okay, that's your victim story?
No, that's the truth. Jeremy he's very controlling. He's always made me feel like that I can't and won't be anything without him.
Okay,
His
so that
words
is your victim
are
story. That's what I wanted to know.
useless, worthless, and of no benefit.
So she's letting him control her. Mm-hmm. And you see it. Mm-hmm. And you see it. So Sheila, what has Jeremy done in the past year to keep tabs on your daughter? Because Brooke's saying that if she starts getting off, getting healthy, getting her feet under her, that he swoops in. What's he done to keep tabs on her?
Well, other than going by her house, going at night after she's went to bed and seeing if he could go out by the window and listen to her conversations. She was dating a guy in Louisiana. He drove down there in the middle of the night, and twice. The second time, he got one of the children and took her and did not tell Britney. So Britney wakes up the next morning and doesn't know where her daughter is.
Y'all know about parental abduction, right?
Where we live, they don't go by that. When they were out of school for 17 days, the law did nothing to him.
He dumped your furniture into the yard.
Into my yard. My neighbors called me and said, you have a couch and a bunch of furniture in your yard. And I'm in a $600,000 house, and, it didn't look good.
When things don't go his way, or I couldn't tell you how many times he's changed the locks on the doors and put all of my clothes and shoes and everything out on the front porch.
Okay, so what's your relationship with him now?
I don't really speak to him.
Are you in and out of a relationship with him?
In the past, have we been? Yeah. Have I recently? No. I mean, I was dating someone up until the end of May.
Until he ruined that.
And he gigs you with things like he says that the other Britney does a better job as a mother than you do.
Oh, yeah.
Well, let me just tell you, the other Britney has her own child, and she doesn't even have custody. Her mother does. So that tells you what kind of job she does. She's their friend. She does their makeup and their hair. She's their friend.
So you don't think much of her?
I have absolutely no respect for anything for her at all.
Well, Jeremy, the man that I guess you could say is caught between 2 Britneys, is here, and he says Sheila is two-faced and his ex-wife Britney is a bad mom who needs God.
Oh, yeah. In the last month, he's
we'll
found
be right
Jesus.
back.
B1 never makes an adult attempt to get the kids from me. B2 is currently staying with us most of the time. She's the honeybee of the hole. B1 raised 9 kinds of hell in front of our daughter. It turned into B1 banging her own face on the concrete.
Last year, Jeremy was trying to get rid of me and to get me to leave. He knows that the one way to really get to me is to say something bad about me as a mom. So I hit the bill of his hat and knocked it off his head. And when I did that, he stood up and put his hands around my neck and looked me dead in my eyes and said, "I will choke you to death."
Well, Jeremy says his ex-wife, Britney, whom he calls B1 to avoid mixing her up with his on-again, off-again girlfriend, Britney, whom he calls B2, failed as a wife. He says B2 is a better housekeeper and a great stepmother. Take a look.
Right now, I feel like I'm caught between 2 Britneys. At this point, B1 is ignoring me and will not currently talk to me about our parenting situation at all. Britney was never taught how to be a good mother because her mother, Sheila, never knew how to be a good mother. And now B1 has become a quitter. B1 has always been a liar. She says she's never had any help from me, but I have paid all of our bills and taken care of everything. B1 never makes an adult attempt to get the kids from me. B2 is currently staying with us most of the time. She's the honeybee of the hole. She keeps it clean, she keeps it together, and you gotta keep some glue on there for it to stick. I will say with B2 in the house right now, I do think it makes a good family unit. The kids are definitely tuned in, and we generally don't have any issues at the house that can't be resolved. One time, B1 insisted that she come over to my house to have a forceful conversation with my middle daughter. B1 raised 9 kinds of hell in front of our daughter. It turned into B1 banging her own face on the concrete. Her mom, Sheila, has seen the surveillance video and does still continue to deny it happened. I have tried everything in my power to try to show B1 that we could possibly work things out. If she is done, she needs to tell me. I do know that B2 would love to be my wife, but I'm not fully over B1. If we can't find a way to work through our issues, I will be with B2.
Well, Jeremy, you've been listening to what we've been talking about so far, right?
Yes, sir.
And you say you're caught between two Britneys, but it seems to me like you're playing both hands, so you have a soft place to fall, whichever works out.
Mm-hmm. I'll put it like this, because I'm real and I'm honest. Miss Britney has been fantastic to me.
Wait, who's Miss Britney?
Miss Britney is what we call her at our house.
No, it isn't.
You just
Y'all
said
call
B2.
her B1 and B2.
That's a lie.
That's a lie.
Wait,
You call her B1,
on.
and your mother calls her
Wait a
B1 and
minute.
B2.
Both of you,
He
stop.
just said B2
Both?
is currently living with us.
Stop. That's not true.
Okay, we're going to get a lot of truth out.
Yep.
Yeah, I bet we do.
Yeah, we are.
So you say you're not over your ex-wife at this point.
I have not completely let go of everything.
He told me last week he would marry her today.
You told somebody last week you've only been married 3 times, so you lied a whole lot. I can dig the dirt out on you, baby.
You're so funny.
I am real
You're
funny.
so funny.
Real and truth
What does that
hurts.
have to do
With
with
your
the
children.
It's
kids?
about your mentor and how you were raised and
Well,
what
I'm
is
tr-
acceptable.
I'm trying to get the dance card here. So she lives with you,
Yes, sir.
Okay.
She stays with me.
but you told us that you're not completely over your feelings with your ex-wife.
I have not completely let go of everything. You're right.
And you said that if you can't get this back together, then by default, you would then settle for this other Britney, but that you don't really love her.
Correct.
I do not love B2, or Miss Britney as we call her at home, or if we need to refer to her as B2 here to
Call
make
her
sense.
Clyde, I don't care. But you're saying you're not in love with her.
I am not in love with Britney.
Okay.
no.
Does she know that you two still have something going on between you? Mm-hmm. And
She knows that we talk. She knows
when was
that,
the last time the two of you were intimate?
since she's going to lie about it, and I have sent the text, it was July the 12th, to be exact. July the 12th. I have the date. Let's go on and talk about it, because your mom's really not going to like the fact to know that you drove all the way down to Hattiesburg to pick me up and take me back to your bed. Thank you, ma'am. To stay at your sugar shack. So let's get real, Sheila.
I didn't
I
know.
know you didn't know.
Well, why are you?
Because she lies to you just like you lie to her, and y'all all lie to each other.
Oh,
So
but
let's
you
get
don't
real in
lie.
here. Let's
You don't
get real
lie.
in here.
Yeah, you don't lie.
No, but
I didn't say I was perfect.
Oh,
Well,
we're
that's a
not
good
either.
thing. So a month ago, you two slept together.
Yes.
I don't know the exact date. I'm not saying that I haven't slept with him. I've slept with him for 18 years.
Of course, I'm not judging it. I'm just trying to get. I'm just trying to get a sense of what the dynamic is here.
I would say within the past month or two, sure.
Okay, and does this other Britney know that?
Yes, sir.
And she's okay with that?
Not necessarily okay. She's hurt.
Well, she's here. She's been listening to all this. We'll talk to her when we come back.
Jeremy is the love of my life. When Britney sinks her claws in and pulls Jeremy back in, he tends to kick me out. I honestly feel like I've just been in a bad love triangle. This past January, Britney did assault me.
B2 was at my house, and then B1 popped up unannounced to surprise me in the shower.
I was immediately livid because just the thought of her and to see her pisses me off.
She came through that door, threw clothes at me. She started pulling my hair. She grabbed a hold of me, and she just started to slam me down into the concrete.
A week after that, she accused me of stealing leather pants, makeup, and shoes, and the bitch even accused me of stealing 5 pair of her panties.
That's when I decided enough was enough, and I did press charges against Britney.
Well, Britney says she's always had a thing for her on-again, off-again boyfriend, Jeremy, since they were in high school. She says Jeremy was going to ask her to prom, but he took his now ex-wife, Britney, instead. So when Jeremy reached out to her last year, she felt like it was her second chance at love.
For the past year, I honestly feel like I've just been in a bad love triangle. Jeremy had already broken ties with Britney when we started seeing each other. But when Britney sinks her claws in and pulls Jeremy back in, he tends to kick me out. Then every time Jeremy reaches out to me, I come back. Jeremy is the love of my life. At this point, Britney just needs to learn how to co-parent and just back off. Britney and I are black and white as parents. Since the last school year, Britney has rarely been involved in her kids' lives. Earlier this year, Seth came to live with us because he was so fed up with being the parent. Britney honestly did not care what the kids did. A typical day at our house, I usually wake up, start breakfast, begin to pack the girls' lunches, get their bags packed, and he takes them to school. Early evening, we tend to get homework done. We cook dinner. It's bath, teeth brush, bedtime by 9 o'clock. Britney asked their youngest child what I do with the kids, and that is none of Britney's business. Jeremy gets bothered when I get angry or upset, because that's all that he ever dealt with whenever he was with Britney. Right now, I feel like our life is in Britney's hands, and I am not okay with that.
You've been listening to everything we've been talking about so far.
Yes.
Anything you want to say, since you haven't had a chance to speak yet? I'll let you say anything you want to say to start with.
Just some comments that were made by the opposing party that are not true.
Yeah, well, what's that?
One, information that they don't have a clue about in regards to my daughter. Excuse me.
Finish your story. If you got something to say, say it.
Yeah, just spit it out.
She was mumbling, not her.
And do you have custody of her?
Yes, I do.
She lives with her mom, though. She doesn't take care of her.
Can we not do that?
No, where does the child live?
I'm speaking to him. I don't need you to comment.
I'm a little confused why either or both of you seem to sit around waiting for him to decide what's going to happen in your life.
Because he keeps the kids from me. It's not that I let him. It's not that I let him.
In all actuality, we both have said that to one another in the past.
But you say he holds the children hostage. You two are divorced. And in that divorce, was there a custody agreement reached?
Yes, but that does not apply to our situation anymore. At the time, they only had Seth, I believe. No, the last custody agreement that we have states that which we don't even live in that house anymore, that the kids would stay in the home at all times, and that I would be with them for 1 week, and he would be with them for 1 week. Okay.
And you don't have any custody understanding now?
No.
Why?
Because, I don't have the money to keep paying lawyers to go to court.
I'm having to pay for everything. He can get sports cars, but last week I had to spend money getting the school clothes.
You doing and paying
and
for
school
what?
shoes.
Them kids been living with me for 6 months, and I ain't got a penny of child support. I ain't got a dollar.
See, I will never pay you child support. I'm not your wife.
Are you supposed to pay me child support?
So what? Your daughter?
You're not
Why
supposed
is
to
your
pay me
daughter
nothing.
not paying him child support
I
when
don't-
he has been raising those
I don't-
children
our
for 7
kids.
I
years?
don't think it's none of your damn business.
You won't think it's none of my damn business
No.
whenever I'm in the house taking care of them.
You
packing
don't
their
even need
lunches,
to be
whatever?
there.
Really? I don't need
They
to be
need
there.
a mother because they never had
But
one.
wait a minute,
And,
Just
They're
like
living,
she never had one.
They're living
You-
in his house, but you're raising them?
I didn't say I was raising them.
You
I'm
just said that.
help raising them.
Oh, now you're helping? Oh, you know when you
shouldn't
help?
have child
Oh, no, I'll have her. I'm going to take her on a little vacation for a couple days. Do they call? Does she text? Does she check on those
Let
children?
me tell you something,
Go
little
ahead,
lady.
Sheila. Go ahead,
Let me
Sheila.
tell you, well, just shut
Go
up
ahead.
and I will.
Shut your mouth and
Don't
will
you talk
not
to me like
speak to me
that.
that way.
You won't speak to me that way. I'm
Right.
60 years old and I'm a grown adult.
You're a grown adult. Act like one.
Okay,
Act like
he
one.
told me I could take my
Meaning-
grandchildren. I'm talking. You told her to hush, so now you let me talk, lady.
Meaning, stop lying.
Shut up and listen to me.
Excuse me?
They're my grandchildren. They're my grandchildren. I asked to take them on one trip this summer. So did I get to take them? No, but he
Which
told
was
me I
true.
could.
Which was true, and I registered for school.
Well, good for you. I'm glad you're
Okay,
such a
time
good
out,
person.
time out. I'm curious,
Okay?
knowing what you know, and knowing that you're kind of a spare, you're kind of a spare Britney, why is that okay with you?
Well, the statement that you made is not true.
I just repeated what he said. Did you tell us that you don't love Britney?
I'm not in love with Britney.
Did you tell us that she kind of wormed her way into your house?
There has been times that I have felt as if she doesn't want to leave.
You understand what he's telling us? I'm just telling you so you know. He's telling us he's not in love with you. He's not over her, that you have wormed your way into the house, and so he's just letting you take care of the house and the kids, but that he has no intention of ever marrying you. Or
I didn't say
being
it
in a-
like that either. I didn't say that I have no intention of ever marrying her.
Actually, you did.
Did I?
Yes, you did.
Mind you, the text messages, the nude photos, even when she was with her previous boyfriend.
Do you want me to show you the nude photos he sent me?
I'm not going to
But you
deny
didn't know
that I
about
haven't
those?
reached
Deny
out
it.
to you.
Bet you didn't know about
But you know
those.
what? I never sent trash like that to him once in my life.
Here?
And if that's all you've got to show is your boobs and
I
this
don't
kind of
care.
crap to try to wiggle
No.
him back in, I'm
No.
sorry. That's just low and trash.
Okay, I'm sure there's
Okay.
plenty of husband and
Listen,
wives that...
guys, you're getting off point
You have
here.
not been married in 10
Stop.
years.
You're
You
getting
can
off
call me
point here.
whatever you want, but
Stop.
your opinion of me
Stop. You're getting off point here, and that's why you never get anything resolved.
Exactly.
I'm trying to ask you, so I understand what you're willing to settle for.
What do you think that is?
Apparently, you're willing to settle for being on standby.
No, not anymore. He knows that I'm not playing this game anymore.
My team put together a timeline to show all the back and forth between the two Britneys. We'll take a look at that when we come back. Closed captioning provided by You seem to be citing some religious sensitivities.
I do need a little bit more Christ in my life, and I can assure you it would help somebody else too.
Do you recall the passage that said that you are to love your wife as Christ loved the church?
Yes, and to treat him like a queen, and she should treat her husband like a king.
And
right?
when you take the children, a child away for 17 days, or the children, and you don't information about that and create issues, do you feel like that's reasonable co-parenting? Is that honoring their mother? Is that a reasonable way to behave?
Not at all, but there was definitely circumstances that stipulated up to the situation, and without custody papers, that we had something legal stating that we would share some custody, I was scared to let my children leave the state and not ever see them again.
When we look at what the kids are through, I said we put together a timeline here. When we look at what the kids have been through, there's two versions of this. According to Britney, is above the timeline, and according to Britney, the ex-wife, below the timeline. But in July of 18, you say you were living with Jeremy, and he suggests that you start looking for a place and you can work on the relationship. In August, you're living with Jeremy, and Britney, you say you start seeing Jeremy because he says he's cut ties with his ex-wife. But yet there seems to be some overlap here. And then at the end of September, Jeremy changes locks, kicks you out, finds out that he's cheating, has a second phone number, moves in temporarily with your mother. And then the second week of October, Jeremy says he wants to get back with Britney, his ex-wife. He tells you that.
Yes.
Okay. So you move into your own place near Jeremy, and he moves to Georgia and is texting you constantly. Jeremy reaches out to you again.
Yes.
And you visit him in Georgia.
I did go up there to Georgia, yes.
Yeah. And at that time, you start dating a new boyfriend.
No, you back that new boyfriend up a little ways because she lied and that slipped in there back before, about October. So look on Bumble and all your dating sites that you advertise.
Okay,
for the world.
then you moved to Georgia.
You're a good investigator?
Brittany,
November 11th is when I
Brittany,
started
you
dating.
moved
That
to
was your official
Georgia.
Facebook post.
You
I'm
moved to
sorry.
Georgia to live with Jeremy.
I did the first week of
No,
Georgia.
I'm going to correct that. She moved to Georgia to take care of my paperwork while I'm
his
doing
business,
storm
yes.
debris cleanup, helping families
I worked
in
for
Georgia
him.
get over Hurricane Michael, and I needed someone to help me take
Yes,
care of the
I
boat.
worked.
And you
I was
talked
technically an
about getting
employee of
married
his.
at that point.
No, we were not talking about getting married. She was putting on Pinterest wedding dresses and wedding rings about her getting married.
In January of this year, you're living with Jeremy in Georgia.
Yes.
And the end of January, you return from Georgia.
Yes.
And then Brittany, you say, assaults you.
1 week after we got back, yes.
And Jeremy asks you to leave and spends the night with Brittany.
Yes.
And you discover that personal items have been stolen.
3 days later, but the night that happened, she texted me telling me, thank you for my clothes and the shoes fit perfectly.
And this is when your arms are all bruised up.
That's when she attacked me on the back porch, yes.
And you're still dating your boyfriend at this
Are
point.
you still dating your boyfriend at that time?
This is on again, off again, on again, off again, on again, off again. And the kids have got to feel like they're just in a hurricane. And that's just not reasonable.
I agree.
Correct.
There is one mature person in this family, and he's not here. It's out of the mouths of babes. We're going to talk to their 18-year-old son, Seth, when we come back.
My mom and dad are toxic. They fought most every night. I had to be the protector for my sisters. My mom and dad are both guilty of being selfish.
Closed captioning provided by...
In 2013, Jeremy took the kids out of school without telling Britney.
For 17 days, I didn't know where my kids were, and no one was answering my calls. The truancy officer contacted him and told them if he did not have them in school, that they were going to be coming and arresting him.
She had been threatening to take all 3 of our children and move out of state. At that time, there were no custody papers, so she can take off and run and there's nothing I can do. Or I can hold them technically. Legally, you can't kidnap your own kids.
Seth says his parents, Jeremy and Brittany, have a lot of bad blood between them based on their history of cheating on each other.
Right now, my family situation is really messed up. My mom and dad are toxic and lie to each other all the time. I do not want my mom and dad to be together. They fought most every night. I had to be the protector for my sisters. I tried to shield them as much as I could. My mom and dad don't want to see each other succeed in anything. They both try and make it harder on each other.
How do I make it harder on your dad? Because I can name many things that he does to make it harder for me.
My mom and dad are both guilty of being selfish and putting putting their wants and needs over the family. I've been back at my mom's house for about a month now. I would like to go back to my dad's, but I would feel like I'd be hurting my mom if I left. This has put me in a position of pain, hurt, and confusion. My dad doesn't know how to be happy with my mom, and my dad doesn't know how to love B2. What hurts me is that B2 does everything that my dad could ever imagine needing. I hope my parents can be more adult about their relationship and learn how to put their kids over themselves. The first part with knowing you have a problem is admitting it, and that's their problem. They won't admit that it's themselves doing this to everyone.
Well, Seth, thank you for being here. I'm sorry that you need to be.
Mm-hmm.
You've got 2 younger siblings.
Yes, sir.
11 and 9.
Yes, sir.
And you're concerned about their experience in all this, right?
I tried to do what I could, but, you know, I was young and experiencing them fight all the time. I would just do what I could to keep my sisters away.
What do you hope happens?
I hope that they both learn how to be better at communicating together and not trying to make it hard for each other, whether they see that they do or not, because, you know, if they wanted to be together, then they should. If they don't, they need to leave it alone. And, you know, they're and, you know, there was even a discussion that me and my dad, about, you know, if it should go on, then we need to do it and try as a family. But if not, it just hurts everyone.
I'm going to excuse everybody except Jeremy and Brittany, who I want to speak to alone. They're the mother and father. I don't want any help. I'm going to excuse everybody but them. When we come back, I want to talk to these 2 about what I think needs to happen here. We'll be right back.
I really do hope me and Brittany can figure out some sort of co-parenting situation. Several years ago, we made a small attempt, I guess, at what you would call bird nesting. It wasn't very successful for us. It mainly comes back to a large issue of trust.
Jeremy and I have also tried what they call soft landing. We lived 8 houses apart. I tried to still involve him in holidays and to do things with the kids, and he refused. If we weren't all together as a family and him and I together, then he wasn't going to do that because that was a lie. I'm not willing to try those things anymore because they don't work.
I want to tell you why you're having so much trouble, if you'd like to know. You got divorced before you were ready. I think people in America get divorced too fast for the wrong reasons. You're not ready to get divorced until you have 0 unfinished emotional business with each other. That's when you're ready to get divorced. You're ready to get divorced when you can say, I've turned over every stone, I've investigated every avenue of rehabilitation for this. I don't have anger, I don't have bitterness, I don't have this unrequited love. I'm like neutral. And y'all never got there. You 2 need to decide, whatever we do, we're going to do it separately and privately. Keep that compartmentalized from your children.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Our children deserve a hero in this situation to come in, and what I want is for you guys to leave here, go home, and those 2 children, the 11-year-old and 9-year-old, look at each other and say, something happened. Because all of a sudden, they seem calm. And it seems to be all about us instead of all about them.
I want to ask a question.
Please.
Can you please teach me how to do that?
Oh, hell
Because
yeah.
that's why I'm here.
You want your children to be able to walk into a room and come over and sit in your lap and not feel that they're betraying you. Absolutely. You want them to come over and give you a big hug and say, hey, and feel like they're not betraying you. And you've got to resolve that you will never speak ill of their father, that you will never speak ill of their mother. Once that happens, there will be a hush fall over this family, and you'll be able for those kids to say, all of a sudden, we're the most important people in this family.
And I've told our children that. I've even about his girlfriend, I've told them, you have no reason not to like her. I don't want you to do that.
Is that before or after you beat her up?
After.
Keep it up. Closed captioning provided by. Joining us now is a dear friend of mine, Ann Margaret Carrozza, family attorney, who has experience dealing with feuding exes.
Jeremy and Britney, I think it's imperative that you guys come up with a co-parenting plan. That should be in writing, because when we put something in writing, it guards against faulty recollections or faulty expectations.
All right, and Ann Margaret, talk about 2 or 3 of the items that would be listed in a co-parenting plan, just to give them an idea of the kind of things we're talking about.
So what we want to do is avoid behavior that's going to unnecessarily inflame the other one. I would suggest avoiding social media posts with other boyfriends and girlfriends. I think that we need to agree with each other to never deprive the other one of contact with the children. Keep it civil. And you guys are going to be grandparents one day, and you have it within your control to make every special occasion for these kids miserable because they're afraid of how you're going to react, who's going to show up, or you can put your feelings on the side. I'm not saying get over them, it's not that easy. Put them on the side, put a smile on your face, and be there for these kids. They deserve it.